UFC 249. Man, I know there are a lot of people that really didn't agree with this fight card because of the coronavirus, but I gotta say, man, as a fan of mixed martial arts, and admittedly selfishly, I am very, very happy that the UFC did this because this fight card was every single thing I hoped it was going to be. And if you're a fan of MMA as well, I'm pretty sure you feel the same exact way. Every single fight from the early prelims all the way to the main card, in my opinion, was good. None of them completely sucked. It was all good. And the three fights that I really want to focus on right now are the three fights in the main card. I'm talking about Francis Ngannou versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I'm talking about the Bantamweight Championship fight between Dominick, Cruz, and Henry Cejudo. And then I'm talking about the interim title for the lightweight division between Tony Ferguson and Justin Gaethje. Where do we begin? Well, first of all, before I actually get to those fights, I really enjoyed the fight between Donald Cerrone and Anthony Showtime Pettis. I enjoyed that fight because I feel like it lends credence to the point that fighters need to fight at their more natural weight. Because what we saw in that fight was two fighters that we've already seen before, two fighters that they showcased a level of durability that we don't necessarily see from them often, but they showcase durability because they were fighting in their natural weight class. That's what I personally believe. I mean, those two guys, they hit each other with a lot of very heavy shots. At one point in the fight, Donald Cerrone was able to hit Anthony Pettis with a nasty head kick that landed flush. It did not even buckle the man, did not stun him, did not drop him, did not rock him. And of course, Anthony Pettis was also able to hit Donald Cerrone with some of the same exact roundhouse kicks to the body that stopped him in their very first fight, and Cowboy was able to eat that. And of course, as we've seen Donald Cerrone fight a lot of people in the welterweight division, he has proven that in the welterweight division, he is a lot more durable. So I really would like to see what MMA would look like, what the UFC would look like if a lot of these fighters stop cutting weight. Or at the very least, if they fight more at their natural weight. I'd like to see how much more durable a lot of these fighters will be. But moving on from that, let's talk about Francis Ngannou. Like, it makes no sense, and it also does, because we've seen him do it. You know what I mean? There's clear proof that this is what the man is capable of. You know, there are a lot of different fighters that, you know, you say they have power, but they have power in the sense that they have enough power to drop you and then TKO you. Someone like Conor McGregor, right? When we talk about Conor McGregor having a nasty left hand, we're not really talking about one-shot KO ability. Of course, he demonstrated that against Jose Aldo because Aldo was coming straight at him and he was able to connect with a left cross to stop Aldo. But a vast majority of Conor McGregor's stoppages have been by TKO. He hits them, they fall, he gets on top, he finishes them. He's powerful, but he doesn't really put guys out cleanly. Even in the heavyweight division, you look at some certain guys like, you know, JDS, who in the past, you know, has demonstrated that he has a lot of power. You also see that when he touches guys, they fall, and he still has to get on top and finish them. With someone like Francis Ngannou, we're talking about a man who puts your lights out completely. He doesn't need to go back in and hit you any longer. He lands one shot and they go to sleep. And it does not matter what shot. He's not the type of fighter that you can say, oh, he has a really nasty left hook or he has a really nasty overhand. Oh, you better watch out for the overhand. He's not like, you know, Dan Henderson where it's like, oh, you know, you can eat a cross from him. You can eat a left hook from you can eat an uppercut, but yo, you better watch out for the overhand because that's the money shot. That's the one he's going to hit you with. No, that's not how it is with Francis. With Francis, it's just watch out. Just watch out because it doesn't matter what that man hits you with. He touches you, you're done. You know, in this fight versus Rozenstruik, a lot of people were saying that, you know, he's finally going to meet someone that is really technically sound and, you know, Jairzinho is going to be able to use technique to avoid the power. But man, technique only gets you so far. And the reason for that is because no matter how technical you are, no matter how good you are as a kickboxer, think in your head. Think about the best strikers in the world. Think Israel Adesanya. Go to the world of kickboxing and think about the absolute best kickboxers you can think of. they get hit. Everybody gets hit. Everyone gets hit. You fight long enough, you're going to get hit. There's no way you're going to go through a whole entire fight, no matter how good you are, without getting hit, especially when you're fighting in MMA. I mean, unless you're Floyd Mayweather, but if you're not Floyd Mayweather, you get touched. And that is the problem when you're facing someone like Francis. You can't technique your way around getting hit by Francis. There's only one way to fight that man, and it's grapple, wrestle, hug the legs, grapple for dear life, hold on and pray to God he does not hurt you. You can't technique your way around it. Even Stipe Miocic, which with as beautiful as his head movement was in their first fight, Stipe still had to grapple. He had to grapple heavily to be able to beat that man. That is the only chance you got, because you stand long enough with Francis Ngannou, he's going to touch you. And when he does, you're going to get knocked out cold. And that is exactly what we saw in this fight. Fight starts off and Jairzinho is demonstrating some beautiful lead leg kicks. Pops him. Boom. He lands a leg kick. You know, Ngannou is like watching him still in his fight pose. Jairzinho lands another leg kick. And it's just like Francis just said, you know what? I'm tired of being in here. I'm done. You've landed 2 leg kicks. I'm sick and tired of being in here. He swings a massive overhand, which Jairzinho was able to slip and try to counter with a left hook. But the moment Ngannou whiffed the overhand, he started spamming hooks. Windmill punches coming at you so fast. Of course, Jairzinho is backing straight up into the cage. By the time he gets to the cage, Ngannou connects with a beautiful left hook. That's it. Knocked him out cold. The rest of the punches were just a formality. It was not necessary. Dude was out cold. And how long did that fight last? Seconds. That's what we are to expect now from Francis Ngannou when he steps in the octagon. Let's see. Junior Dos Santos lasted seconds. Cain Velasquez lasted seconds. Curtis Blades lasted seconds. Jairzinho Rozenstruik lasted seconds. This is what we've come to expect from Francis Ngannou. I really hope that we get to see him next for a title fight. I think it's time. Whether it's DC with the belt or whether, I mean, of course, if DC wins the belt from Stipe, he's just going to retire. And I don't suspect DC is going to want to fight Francis. Not because DC is scared. Daniel has the type of style, a style tailor-made to beat massive, strong men like Francis. You know, DC is just going to shoot on him, grab a single leg, make him balance on one foot, trip the back leg, get on top of him, and just rinse and repeat. Francis at some point is going to give up his bag. DC will snap on a rear naked choke and get him out of there. That's what we expect if DC was to fight him. What I want to see is a rematch between Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic. I think that is an excellent fight. And I can't wait to see that. So major congratulations to Francis, my official third favorite fighter in MMA. Epic performance. Now, let's move on to the next fight right after that, which was Dominick Cruz versus Henry Cejudo. Now, coming into this fight, my thought process was Henry Cejudo is the type of opponent that we've seen Dominick Cruz beat in the past, right? We've seen Dominick Cruz versus the short wrestler with an evolve and striking game. We've seen that before. We've seen him fight the likes of Uriah Faber. He fought Uriah Faber 3 times, and he lost the first one by, I believe it was a guillotine, and then he beat Uriah Faber twice. We've seen him fight someone like Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. Of course, Demetrius Johnson, you can't really describe him as a wrestler with evolve and striking. He's a very, very well-rounded fighter. And we've also seen Dominick Cruz against some other team alpha male style fighters. They all have that similar style where they're really good scramblers. Their striking is evolving. They're on the shorter side, but they're really, really fast, and they have really good submission, and they also have really good gas tanks. So going into the fight, looking at Henry Cejudo on paper compared to Dominick Cruz, that's what you expect would happen. I expected that Dominick was going to be able to get out there, use his footwork to dance around Henry Cejudo, not really get hit that much. And when Henry does try to initiate grapple, Dominick has enough grappling and wrestling experience to be able to stop that and not get dominated grappling-wise like Henry dominated Demetrius Johnson. So When the fight started off, it was playing out in a very similar way. Of course, Henry was doing something that no one else really started doing to Cruz very early on. I mean, the only other person that really attacked the legs of Dominick Cruz was TJ Dillashaw in their second fight, but TJ didn't start doing that until later into the fight. So seeing Henry Cejudo start the fight off right away with those leg kicks, brilliant. Because, of course, that slows down Dominick Cruz, gives you a better chance to actually reach him with your punches if that's what you want to do. And, of course, when you're fighting a man who's constantly moving the upper body and moving his head and keeping his head up the center line, right there, attack him right there. And that's exactly what Henry Cejudo did. He wasn't really spending too much time trying to hit a moving target, trying to hit him in the head. He would have just swung at air all night. So he focused on the legs, and he did a very good job at that. At some point, he was also able to get Dominick to the ground. They had a brief scramble. He wasn't really able to maintain top position. But then, I believe this happened. I'm drawing a blank. I got to go watch these fights back. I believe this happened in round number 3. I believe it happened in round number 3. Either round number 3 or round number 4. Dominick goes for a takedown. Henry Cejudo, at that very moment, times a beautiful intercept knee, Jose Aldo style. Blasts Dominick Cruz in the head. Dominick falls right back. He's completely out of it. Henry Cejudo attacks him right there on the ground. Very similar to the sequence that led to the end of TJ Dillashaw. Henry is pounding at his head, and Dominick's head is like scraping off the canvas. And you're looking at him like, oh my God, this dude, is he done? Is he done? Is he done? The referee's looking at him. And just as Dominick is about to get right back up to his feet, the ref jumps in and stops the fight. In my opinion, a little bit early, but it's not the worst stoppage I've ever seen. Like, I understand why the referee felt the need to jump in. At some point, Dominick's head was literally on the canvas. He looked like he was out. But I still don't like the fact that he stopped it while Dominick was getting back to his feet. And if you listen to the post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, Dominick Cruz was saying the same thing. You know, he just didn't feel like it was appropriate to stop the fight while he was getting back to his feet. So, impressive fight by Henry Cejudo. It doesn't matter how you put it. You look at this man's resume, forget the cringe, forget all the crazy nonsense he talks. The man is an elite level mixed martial arts fighter. Let's see. Demetrius Johnson, pound for pound great. Didn't stop him, but beat him. Stole his belt. TJ Dillashaw, another pound for pound great. Longtime bantamweight champion. Henry Cejudo also stops him as TJ Dillashaw came down and tried to steal his belt. And now we got, let's not forget Marlon Morais, a very, very dangerous Muay Thai style kickboxer. Henry Cejudo beats him down. And now we've got Dominick Cruz, the bantamweight GOAT. In my opinion, Henry Cejudo stops him. Incredible. And he's the first man to actually stop Dominick Cruz in the UFC, not MMA. Dominick Cruz has been stopped before. He was stopped by Uriah Faber. I'm talking about in the UFC. Henry Cejudo is the first man to stop Dominick Cruz in the UFC. Impressive. You got to give the man respect. Triple C, you got to give the man his due respect. He has defended the flyweight belt. He has also defended the bantamweight belt, and he quit. Well, no. Quit is the absolute wrong word to use for that. I apologize for that word. The word is he retired. He says, I am done. Hangs up the gloves right there. Says he's 33 years old. He has a girlfriend right now. He's trying to start a family. How can you not respect that? He has accomplished everything he needs to accomplish in combat sports. He feels that it's time to hang it up. And if that's really the last time we're going to see Henry Cejudo, major props to Henry. Good shit. Really, really great fight. Now, the main event. The main event. Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. What can I say? Man, starting things off, I would say, with the main event, my prediction, which I posted on Twitter, it was a bold prediction, but I said I 100% believe that Justin Gaethje is going to TKO Tony Ferguson. But I said he was going to do it within 2 rounds, and I said he was going to do it with a left hook. Now, why did I make that prediction? Well, first of all, I knew the left hook was going to land all night long. I knew that was going to happen. When Tony Ferguson throws his jab, he drops his hand. He drops his hand, and he keeps his chin up. He does that all the time. If he's in southpaw and he's trying to throw a cross, he does the same thing. Anytime he's firing off a shot from his left arm, the right arm drops. He's not too technical boxing-wise. He's not the type of guy that when he's jabbing, he keeps this one up. You know what I mean? He's very, very unorthodox. He's very unique and very creative in the way he fights, and that really helps him out. But when it comes to boxing, Tony Ferguson is not too technical. He's not. He makes a lot of mistakes, and that's not. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the guy. I'm just pointing out the facts that he does make some mistakes. He keeps his chin up high, doesn't keep his hands up all the time. And the best shot to deal with the man that does that is, of course, the left hook. And who has a really nasty left hook? Justin Gaethje, the highlight. So I figured if Justin Gaethje is seeing the same shit that I'm seeing, he's gonna go for that left hook all night long. And in my mind, seeing the body of work of Justin Gaethje, knowing the man packs a punch. I mean, he's the first guy to stop Edson Barboza proper. He has a lot of power. Regardless of how tough Tony Ferguson is, in my brain, I was thinking, he's going to get stopped. He's just going to get stopped if he gets hit with that left hook as much as I thought he was going to get hit with the left hook. But then when the fight starts out, and the first left hook landed, and the second left hook landed, and the third one landed, and it kept landing and landing and landing over and 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 over again. And I'm sitting there waiting for Tony Ferguson to get sat down. At the very least, let the man's butt touch the canvas. No, not one time did Tony Ferguson sit down. And I'm just sitting there going, explain this to me. Make it make sense. How is it that a man is able to take that much punishment? We were not designed, human beings, we were not designed to take that much punishment. You see, the human body, we're meat, it's flesh, we're fickle. We're not designed to take that much damage. How on earth is Tony able to withstand that much damage? Not only is he getting busted up to his feet, he's also getting busted up to the legs. It was a clinic. For 4 rounds straight, he got absolutely mauled. Of course, in the second round, he was able to drop Justin Gaethje with a beautiful uppercut. It was a throw-on-throw. Justin Gaethje was about to throw a rear uppercut. Tony Ferguson threw a rear uppercut, beat him to the punch, dropped him. Classic vulnerability. Classic EA Sports UFC 3 style vulnerability. Sits down Justin Gaethje at the end of the round, which of course he was able to survive. But then, apart from that, in my opinion, Tony Ferguson was just never in the fight. He was moving, he was taking damage really, really well, and he was pressuring Justin Gaethje. But the technical difference between the two men, kickboxing-wise, specifically boxing-wise, was so apparent. It was so evident in this fight. It just makes me question what would happen if Tony Ferguson were to fight a man like Conor McGregor, who is the best boxer in the UFC. What would happen? What I think would happen is that Conor McGregor is going to box him up for a few rounds. He's going to gas and he's going to get tapped out. That's what I think is going to happen. But of course, with Justin Gaethje, you're not really worried about that whole him getting tired stuff, especially with this new style that he has. And you listen to his corner the whole entire time, reminding him, bro, the last 2 fights you lost because you were having way too much goddamn fun in there. You lost because you lost focus. You did not stick to the plan. When you're fighting these high-level fighters, you need to keep your cool. You need to stay technical. You need to keep a level head throughout the fight. And especially when you're fighting a man like Tony Ferguson, who is just waiting for you to gas out, waiting for you to show him some form of weakness. Just get tired a little bit so I can stop you, so I can snatch up a submission or start busting you up. But it never happened. Justin stayed cool, calm, collected, and completely outclassed Tony Ferguson the whole entire time, and actually got a stoppage. It was a referee stoppage. He never dropped him. I think he was close though. He was close, and it is so funny how after all that, all the shots that he hit him with, all the left hooks, all the right hooks, all the cross down the pipe, it was a jab that completely shattered. I don't know what the hell the jab did to Tony Ferguson, but he was acting discombobulated, like he didn't know where he was. And Herb Dean has seen enough, jumped in, stopped the fight. Impressive performance. We saw Justin Gaethje elevate, go up to a new level in this fight. We saw clean hands, clean striking, patience, really good stamina. And that is the making of a champion. And I cannot wait to see what he can do against the great Khabib Nurmagomedov. But man, that is it. That is it for UFC 249. An incredible fight card. God, I have missed MMA. I have missed mixed martial arts, and this just demonstrated that to me, and I am absolutely happy that we got to see this. I am looking forward to the next one. Let me know in the comment section what you guys thought about the fight card. What fight was your favorite? Specifically, who do you think should be next for Ngannou? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe.